So you've just lost your job and the bills are piling up. Why not rent out a space in your house? Here's why. From 2019, this is The Killer Downstairs. I'm Jay Harangue and I've wasted hours of my life watching terrible films.
You should subscribe.
This is Alison and she's the main character.
Hi.
She's recently been sacked from her job as a lawyer, so she's working at big box outlet store. Her best friend Sarah, who got her the job here, is like, hey Alison, Brandon the manager is planning on asking you out. And Alison's like, what? Another one? Why is everyone in love with me?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, more on that later. Actually, more on that now.
Hi, can I help you with something?
Yeah, she's not interested in that at all. But the customer keeps forcing the issue, clearly so deluded that he doesn't realise she's paid to be nice to him. But it's okay, Alison's boss Brandon comes over and the customer leaves.
You okay?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Matthews.
You can call me Brandon.
Smooth. Because Alison recently lost her job, she's advertised a room in her house on mecasasucasa.com, and one of her prospective tenants has arrived. Yeah, this is James, and he's pretty hot. So Alison doesn't mind that he booked the room with his wife and kid, the ones in his profile picture, but is now wanting to live there alone as he and his wife separated. Alison shows him to the flat downstairs, and James absolutely loves it. Alison's like, what are you doing here anyway? And James is like, well, I'm thinking of investing in a local cryptocurrency startup, so I'm here to check it out.
That is an incredible story.
The next morning, Alison wakes up to find James cooking in her kitchen.
What?
Yeah, and he's got his own downstairs, but he's hot, so she doesn't mind that much. When she gets to work, Brandon wants to see her in his office about a legal matter, and she thinks, oh God, obviously he's in love with me.
Obviously.
He's like, this isn't the time nor place to discuss this, so let's go out for dinner tonight. And Alison's like, no, but then he offers to pay her $150, so she agrees.
How about 8 p.m. at the Fat Cow Oyster Bar?
Sounds sexy. Later, Sarah's like, how's the new tenant? And Alison's like, oh yeah, he's hot. But this morning, he was in my kitchen. Then this guy, Michael, turns up. Alison and Michael went to high school together and haven't seen each other for ages. Michael's like, I lent you my pencil sharpener in 9th grade. Where is it?
You remember that?
I got a weird brain for that kind of information.
He's like, who's that weird guy staring at you? And she's like, oh, that's my boss. He's in love with me, like everyone else. Michael's like, well, if you ever want out of this place, I'll get you an interview at my law firm. When Alison gets home, she hears James talking to his wife and daughter on the phone and thinks he sounds like a really nice man. But she still tells him to stay out of her kitchen. He's like, okay, do you want to join me for dinner tonight? And she's like, no, I'm being paid to go out with my boss who's in love with me. And yeah, at dinner, he starts trying to touch her, so she storms out. And oh no, he's followed her up to her car. Oh, it's okay, James is here.
Well, I think the lady would like for you to leave her alone.
Yeah. Later at home, Sarah calls and Alison's like, yeah, as expected, another man came on to me.
Of course.
Sarah's like, you should tell someone about this. He's been getting away with this for ages. And James hears this conversation from the stairs. The next morning, James tells Alison that his wife, who's also a lawyer, has a job going at her law firm and that she should email her CV to her. When Alison gets to work...
I'm not really sure.
Excuse me, Alison. Can I speak to you for a minute, please?
Uh-oh.
He takes her outside and he's like, if you accuse me of anything, you're sacked. So she apologizes for overreacting. When Alison gets home, she sees James working in the garden. She's like, wow, James, thanks for doing this. Then she gets a call from Michael, who tells her that his company wants to interview her. James is like, well, that's good news, but Alison's not so sure.
He's one of those people who's like really pleased to see me.
Yeah, like every other man in this film, apparently. But Alison's gonna meet him for dinner later anyway. When Alison goes to get changed, James grabs Brandon's number from her phone, goes downstairs and writes it in his little notebook. At dinner...
Is your boss still creeping on you from his window?
Yeah.
But he won't be for long. James has messaged Brandon pretending to be Alison and arranged to meet him. So he's dead. Then James leaves the lighter fluid and the phone he used by this homeless person.
Smart.
When Alison gets back from dinner, she brings a bottle of wine so she can celebrate with James, and then they kiss. But she pulls away because she's his landlord and it's inappropriate. The next day at work, Alison tells Sarah about the kiss. Sarah's pleased for Alison, but tells her that she shouldn't be searching for love on mecasasucasa.com.
True.
Meanwhile, at home, James is putting cameras all around Alison's house. Later, 2 detectives turn up at Big Box Outlet Store and ask Alison some questions about Brandon.
What is going on? Did he do something?
Brandon Matthews was killed last night.
Mr. Matthews' phone was retrieved from the fire last night.
They show texts of you communicating with him right up until the time of his murder.
5550199.
That is not my number.
It isn't.
No.
More excellent work from the useless Lifetime Police Department. Alison's like, hang on, it could have been Michael.
Is your boss still creeping on you from his window?
We'll check him out.
So that's nice for Michael. Later that day, Sarah comes round and Alison tells her how it looks like Michael killed Brandon. Then Michael's law firm calls to confirm her interview. So Alison thinks, oh, well, it can't have been him then. But Sarah and James are like, whatever, this is obviously all part of Michael's plan. Sarah stays over that night and tells Alison she doesn't trust James. But James can hear all this as he has bugs all around the house, as well as cameras. The next morning, the police call Alison and tell her they've arrested that homeless man for Brandon's murder, which means Michael's in the clear. So James drags Michael out to the woods to bury him. Michael wakes up and fights back a bit, but he's no match for James, so he's dead. Meanwhile, Alison gets an email from James's wife, asking her to send her CV to her law firm. When James gets home, they have dinner together, and they start talking about Brandon.
That guy played with fire and he got burned.
Did I tell you that he died in a fire?
Figure of speech.
Oops. The next morning, when Alison and Sarah come back from a run, Alison gets a call from Michael's law firm offering her the job. She's like, oh my God, thanks. And then she's told that Michael has gone missing. But there's no time to worry about that, as Alison, James and Sarah will be having dinner tonight to celebrate. And it looks like James is bringing dessert. When Sarah gets there, she's like, right, we need to talk about James now. But then he turns up, so that's gonna have to wait. Over dinner, Sarah starts asking James questions about his family, and James doesn't like this.
Can I get you ladies some more wine?
Yeah, we all know what's going in that wine.
Yep.
So Sarah passes out on the sofa. James gives Alison a necklace and she loves it. So they stick Sarah in an Uber and then they bang. After they finish, James sees Alison's phone go off and it's a message from Sarah telling her that James's family photo, which he used for his mecasasucasa.com profile, is a photoshopped stock image from the internet. So he deletes that message and goes to see Sarah. When Alison wakes up, she finds a text from Sarah saying, help, someone's trying to break into my house. So Alison calls the police and goes round to Sarah's house. There's no sign of Sarah, but the police find Michael's phone. On it, there's a message from Sarah saying, leave Alison alone, she's mine.
Sarah would have never said that.
So who would?
Alison starts to think that maybe James is behind all this.
Yes, of course.
So she goes home and starts looking around downstairs. Immediately, she finds drugs and monitors showing all the different rooms in her house where James has hidden cameras. And he was the one who sent the email pretending to be his wife. So Alison calls the number on the email and gets through to his wife's sister.
Oh my gosh. He's doing it again.
The sister tells Alison to get out of the house and call the police. Now, I'm not sure why James would have included that telephone number on the email. Surely there's a reasonable chance that Alison would have called it at some point.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Anyway, then she hears noises from the closet, and oh, look, it's Sarah tied up. And oh no, James is back. James is like, right, why aren't you wearing the necklace I gave you?
I took that off to go to bed. You went into my room?
What?
Yeah, he's got a full CCTV system set up all over your house, including your room. How is this a shock? Anyway, then her phone rings. As James turns around, Alison smashes him over the head with a vase and makes a run for it. She can't open the door, so she hides in the house. Yeah, unfortunately, that empty kettle wasn't a finishing blow, so James grabs her as she tries to escape. He strangles her and takes her out to the garden and starts to dig a grave big enough for her and Sarah. Alison wakes up and she's like, James, we've all made mistakes. Let's be together.
Oh, come on. That's full.
So he kisses her.
What?
Then she bites his tongue, and when he turns away for ages, she grabs his shovel, knocks him out, and calls the police.
Turns out he's been connected to 7 other murders across state lines.
At an unspecified time later, we see Alison working at Michael's law firm. And oh, look, Sarah works there too. And that's the end of the film. So until next time. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. And please consider joining my Patreon. There's a link in the description. Thank you.